have placed on the screen before you is reddit.com/r/Russia, a community of people who are posting things about what's going on in Russia and Ukraine, and it seems to be from a Russian perspective. I'm not super familiar with what they do on that forum, but what I am showing is that it says, are you sure you want to view this community? This community is quarantined. This community contains a high volume of information not supported by credible sources. Learn more at Quarantine Communities. Are you certain you want to continue? And if you do, you have to verify your email or say no thank you. We have the story from the New York Times. Twitter will stiffen moderation policies in response to the war in Ukraine. And our lead story: the corporate press is outraged that Rumble is not censoring those with a pro-Russia perspective. You guys know my perspective on what's going on with the war. I think the U.S. played some dirty politics in the region. They do everywhere. We do. We are the United States. And Russia invaded, and Russia is the aggressor in the war. They were losing the game. I view it like there's a game of chess going on, and the U.S. is making moves that are frustrating and annoying to Russia. So Russia flips the table over. The U.S. was getting too close to Russia's queen or king. So Russia was just like, you know what? We're going to war. Yo, you started the war. The loss of lives are on Russia. Rumble got an email from corporate press, emails from the Globe and Mail. Basically, the journalists play this game where they'll say things like, why aren't you doing this? Why aren't you doing that? Why do you support white supremacy? You'll get an email from a journalist and it'll say, we couldn't help but notice that you have a bank account run by this person. Why do you support insert horrifying thing? The goal of these emails is not to get a legitimate response, because you can simply say, we've noticed you're not following suit with censorship policies of other platforms. We'd love to get your a comment as to what your stance is on these issues. Instead, they're like, these anti-hate groups have accused you. They want you to be scared. They want you to feel like everyone's out to get you. Rumble is saying, shut up. And they've issued an amazing response about how people have lost trust in institutions because the media and big tech think they should be the filters for information so that you don't get to decide for yourself. Which brings me to the next big story, of course, CNN. Oh, it's official. Big cuts are coming, but my friends, get this. CNN Plus, with their tremendous launch, can barely muster 10,000 daily active users. Wow. Timcast.com is bigger than that. So, my friends, if you want to support our work, head over to Timcast.com, become a member. You'll get access to exclusive episodes of the Timcast IRL podcast. This will go out Monday through Thursday at 8 p.m. You are supporting our journalists, and you will get to gloat that you're a member of an organization that is bigger than CNN Plus. I'll just add real quick before we read this stuff from Rumble and get into all the news. Not only does CNN struggle to get 10,000 daily active users, Timcast.com, which gets more than that, has costs more money. Now, CNN, they were selling memberships. I think it was like $6, and then they cut it to $3 because nobody was signing up. Just think about how sad that is. That y'all are just like, yo, Tim, I can spot you $10 to support this organization, to get access to this content. There are people who are like, yo, I believe in what you're doing. They give us more than $10. There are people who are like, I think it's, Tim, you're okay, I guess, but I do want to watch some of these videos. And there are some people who are like, yo, I really love the members only content, and the value proposition is there. The Daily Wire has 600,000 users. And I talked with Matt Walsh a little bit about this the other day, and it's on timcast.com in the members segment. And it's just, he said, there's a mission behind what we do. We believe in something. We're fighting for something. There's a community here. And I'm like, exactly. The people who are members at timcast.com not only want to support the work, but they believe in building culture and challenging the manipulators, the liars, the deceivers. Let me show you what Rumble had to say. My videos do appear on Rumble, and I will stress, as much as this is also on YouTube, and YouTube is the bulk of views, we use Rumble infrastructure for our website. We post our videos on Rumble, and I have tremendous respect for Rumble. I've criticized some of their policies because I think you need to. When we had the CEO, Chris Pavlovsky, on the show, and I said, look, you got a lot of similar rules, Silicon Valley. Take a look at this. Rumble tweets, "Here are emails we received from the Globe and Mail demanding to know why we aren't dutifully copying YouTube censorship. It is now common that we receive pressure from journalists demanding that we censor more. See the next tweet for Rumble's response." This is amazing. Here's the email. Request for comment, Globe and Mail. It's Joe Castaldo from the Globe and Mail. I'm working on an article about RT's account on Rumble and some of the other content about Russia, Ukraine on Rumble. I'm hoping you can comment on the following. Governments and other observers have branded RT, a Russian state-owned news network, as a Russian propaganda outlet. Since the war in Ukraine began, social media sites such as YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and Spotify have sought to block or limit content from RT. As a result, RT has directed people to its Rumble account. Its number of subscribers has increased 4 times since early March. Has Rumble taken any steps to limit, block, restrict content from RT on its platform, similar to YouTube, Facebook, etc.? If not, can you elaborate on why? I think that should have been phrased a little bit differently. Not a bad question, though. I think what he should have said, other platforms have taken censorship. Is Rumble looking to make similar moves? And if not, why? But for the most part, I think it's a fine question. I really do. I'm curious, too. And we got an answer from Rumble. So I'm actually kind of glad that basic question was asked. But hold on. There's more. They're going to say, YouTube also announced a policy to prohibit content denying, minimizing, or trivializing well-documented violent events in connection to Russia's war in Ukraine. Some prominent creators on Rumble, such as Stu Peters and Alex Jones, have produced videos mirroring Russian government propaganda with respect to Ukraine. This includes videos claiming attacks on Ukrainian towns, cities could be false flags, downplaying civilian casualties in Ukraine, and that Russians are fighting Nazis in Ukraine. I can provide examples. Does Rumble have any plan to enact policies similar to YouTube to deal with such content? On the surface, I'm like, I get it. They're not inherently bad questions to ask. Rumble, what is your position on the censorship? Will you, if any, will you do anything or nothing? No pressure, right? Here's where it gets interesting. The same journalist says, "Hi, Chris. I've had a bit more time with the article and I want to follow up to see if Rumble has any comment about RT's account and content. I also spoke to a couple of sources who are critical of Rumble's allowing RT on its platform. The CEO of the Center for Countering Digital Hate, a UK nonprofit, said that Rumble is doing Putin a big favor by hooking its users up with a steady drip feed of Kremlin lies and propaganda. Ahmed Al-Rawi, an assistant professor at Simon Fraser University who studies disinformation, said that Rumble will not moderate content because then it would not be profitable. He said Rumble's business model relies on fringe groups who disseminate conspiracy theories and disinformation under the pretext of freedom of expression. Again, I'm hoping you can comment. I'm aware Rumble posted a statement on its Twitter feed in early March when RT started live streaming on the site, and I'm wondering if you have more to add since then. Please let me know. I'll need a response." Okay. The surface questions I take no issue with. I see nothing. But when you then layer in, these organizations are accusing you of being grifters and hateful, I can get a comment from anybody. I can get a comment from a free speech organization saying what Rumble is doing is heroic, risking their necks. Care to respond? No, you take the negative from a certain framing and you come to Rumble and the intent is obvious. Pressure tactics. But take a look at how Rumble responded. "There is a reason the public has radically turned against both corporate media, such as your outlet, and big tech. Because you have arrogantly claimed for yourselves the power to decide for the public what information they can and cannot be trusted to hear and what views they can and cannot express. By stark contrast, the reason Rumble is growing so rapidly is because we trust adults to make decisions for themselves about what ideas they can express, and we trust them to make up their own minds after hearing all sides." Bravo. Tremendous respect. Right now, there are prominent left-wing activists who want Fox News banned. They don't think you should be allowed to listen to Tucker Carlson because Tucker Carlson has naughty opinions. I'm not a big fan of Sean Hannity. I'm not a big fan of Laura Ingraham. It's whatever. I'm not a big fan of Rachel Maddow or Chris Hayes or Joe Scarborough, but whatever. Y'all are allowed to watch them. I'm allowed to complain about them. Should we not be allowed to complain about people we think are wrong? Now, look, often when it comes to issues with the war in Ukraine, I'm gonna have a little bit more trust in the press coming out of the U.S. as opposed to the press coming out of Russia. And that's easy. That is easy. Of course they're going to lie, cheat, and steal. Well, of course, the media in the U.S. will as well. But let me show you this story right here from the New York Times. Twitter will stiffen moderation policies in response to the war in Ukraine. Yeah, I mean, I can verify this based on what's happening. So I believe the New York Times wrote a true article here. But they do write fake news. And especially when it comes to the war, I don't know if I can trust them. But I'm going to lean slightly in their favor. And the reason for this is we have a lot of news coming out about what's happening in Ukraine. The first thing I'll say is a challenge to the establishment in the United States. Is Vladimir Putin killing civilians recklessly and arrogantly? Is he targeting civilians intentionally? These massacres, these genocides? I think that's absurd. I think when you try to make your opponent a comic book villain, you will lose many people. You'll lose their trust. You know, a lot of people start to believe you because they fall for that good and evil binary. Is Vladimir Putin and the Russians, are they killing civilians? Yes. But it's likely collateral damage like in any war. So I pursue Occam's razor. In the absence of evidence, the solution that makes the least amount of assumptions tends to be correct. And that is to say that we have a war going on. Russia invaded Ukraine. The United States still won't even go in. It stands to reason that Russia, seeking to gain control of these territories, is shelling areas where the Ukrainian military may be hiding, and it's resulting in civilian casualties. That means you will see videos of civilians dying. So when I see videos and they're like, Russia did this, these civilians lost their lives, I'm like, it's probably true. At least that's the most likely scenario. And then when they come out and say, he's intentionally killing children, and I'm okay, look, I don't think he's a good dude. But you don't win a war by randomly bombing civilians. You're wasting your military assets. You're not you're not building support. Your own people protest you. That's the point. Strategy plays a role. I don't think Vladimir Putin has a whole lot of it relative to what's happening now in Ukraine and with the U.S. in terms of public strategy. But I think it's overly simplistic to think Putin's twirling his mustache saying, duh, kill the civilians. No, they'll probably go to him and say, look, civilians are going to die if we do this, but we need to take out these targets. And he'll say, do it. It's perspective. So I think there's an air of truth when it comes to what we see out of Ukraine. But that's my opinion because it's hard to know. Ladies and gentlemen, CNN Plus struggles to lure viewers in its early days, drawing fewer than 10,000 daily users. I told y'all we were going to get a cake. We're going to get a cake. Well, I've actually been cutting out the sugars, so maybe no cake. Maybe I'll make an almond cake. You know what I've been doing? You take almond flour and some egg and some baking powder, a little vanilla, cinnamon. You mix it up. You put it in the microwave for a couple minutes. Boom. You got an almond cake. I don't really put a lot of sugar in it. We've got allulose and erythritol, but I try to just stay away from sweets in general. So I'll just make a cake with less sugar and we'll slap some buttercream on it. There's a bit of sugar in there, but we don't go too nuts with it. And we're going to celebrate CNN's failures. You know what I hate more than anything? When people try to manipulate me. Now, I don't know why, but someone trying to trick me into doing something is the most infuriating thing. When I saw that, I talked about it in an earlier segment, Bette Midler showing a picture of a little girl waving a Ukrainian flag, and she's like, I'll pay more for gas for her. And I'm just like, you have convinced me to completely hate, the support for the war, for Ukraine. And I like the country. And I talk about I have friends from there. And I know what's happening is bad. But when you come out and you show this little girl and you try to trick me into paying high gas prices and voting for Joe Biden, I spit in your general direction. How dare you? So seeing CNN fail, ooh, it fills me with a warm feeling. We should get champagne. I think you know what we'll do tomorrow? Tomorrow's a big show. Tonight's going to be, actually, tonight's a really big show. Tonight, for those that are watching on YouTube, the Daily Wire, Ben Shapiro, Michael Knowles, Matt Walsh, the crew, Jeremy Boring, they're taking over Timcast IRL temporarily during our show. It's going to be fun. But then tomorrow we have a big show with a ton of people from the Daily Wire here in our set. And maybe we'll get some champagne. We'll crack some champagne and say, guys, CNN Plus couldn't even get more than 10,000 daily users. And the Daily Wire has 600,000 subscribers. No, okay. Daily Wire's been building up for 7 years. CNN Plus just launched. So maybe CNN Plus can recover. No, I don't think so. CNBC says the paltry audience casts doubt on the future of the application following recently completed combination of Discovery and Warner Media. Axios, big cuts coming for CNN Plus after slow start. It was abysmal, it was a failure, and nobody wants to watch. Bye-bye. Your lies wash away in the rain, and I'm confident that moving forward, our faction, whatever it may be, it's an eclectic bunch, we're going to win. It's right here. Timcast.com right now is bigger than CNN. And I just want to say this. I am hearing that news about CNN. You know, what is it? 2.5 weeks on, 3 weeks on from the launch of CNN Plus. Timcast.com was already bigger. That's amazing. That's kind of crazy to me. You know, we're not the biggest. We don't have 600,000 subscribers, but we have a lot more than CNN. Now, to be fair, they say daily active users is what they're saying. You know, I want to be careful. Daily users. And so that's a bit different than just subscribers. Some have reported as 10,000 subscribers. I'd imagine they have more than that. I'd imagine CNN Plus might actually have, 30 to 40,000. We'll see. Maybe it's more. I mean, honestly, it could be 100K. CNN Plus could have signed up 100,000 people. At $3 a month, making, 300 grand a month. But 10,000 daily users, it's because the people who signed up don't actually watch. Now, considering that, knowing how many viewers we have, I think CNN may have, 30,000 subscribers. I don't know for sure. I just know that we have more than they do. And we're a year old. Timcast.com has been a functioning site, not even for a year. It does make me feel bad a little bit because I'm like, we could have launched Timcast.com years ago, but you can only grow as much as you can grow as fast as you can, and you realize what you're doing, and we still face serious challenges and hurdles. So, that's the reality of business. CNN has the most trusted name in news, and that's all they could muster. So I'll just say, Timcast, the YouTube presence, was able to generate a bigger following than CNN could. And most of their viewers, even for Fox News, are an aging demographic, and they won't be around much longer. I mean, no disrespect to the older folks, but the people who watch this cable TV stuff, Fox News, MSNBC, CNN, they're going to be aging out. I say that, trying to tone things down a little bit, but I could just say, they're going to die soon. Soon relative to us. There will come a time when I'm 50 and I'm on YouTube or who knows where, and there's going to be, metaverse kids being like, I don't know, I don't use YouTube. I'm in the metaverse. And we'll have to figure that out. Eventually, our day will come, same as everybody else's. Generations change. These cable media companies, they lie, cheat, and they steal. It's like Rumble said. And because of the lying, the cheating, and the stealing, people don't trust them anymore, don't want to watch them anymore. So you know what we're going to be doing? Right now, for us, our target is, we want to get 18 to 24-year-olds. We have a massive audience between 18 to 54, with the largest bracket being, I think, 25 to 34, I think is the bracket. So if I were to look at the camera and say, John, you're a 33-year-old man. I'm sure there are many of you out there who are like, whoa, he's talking to me. It's like, well, I just chose a common name and then threw out an average age. But I could also be like, Bill, you're 27. There was a great bit from Penn and Teller's show, BS, on Showtime, where he was like, think of a number between 1 and a million. And then he's like, the number you were thinking of was, and then he throws out 687,592. And right now, many of you are thinking, how did they do that? How did they guess the number? And he was like, the truth is it's a random number. But some of you may have actually guessed a similar number, and so you think we read your mind. Anyway, I digress. The point is, we want to make sure that we're producing content that has the values of liberty and personal responsibility behind it. That's it. So I'll give a shout out to our good friends over on the left who I've been tweeting at. They're always welcome to come on the show, but they don't do it. So there's a lot of people who don't like Vosh at all because he said weird things about kids. But the left still views him prominently. We should come on and we should have him express those views. Some people don't like it. They're like, why are you platforming Vosh? Because I don't believe in hiding what large, prominent personalities believe. I think we should show people what they believe. Because I think if parents heard what they were saying, they'd be like, I'm going to vote against that. I believe enough people would agree with me. I believe my ideas are stronger. Maybe I'm wrong. If I am wrong, then I suppose my ideas deserve to lose, right? So we've got many people who refuse to come on shows, refuse to have conversations. Fine, whatever, I don't care. Let CNN crumble and collapse. Bye. 10,000 users. Props to the Daily Wire on 600,000. Let's just ballpark this. What is it? Daily Wire charge, I think it's like $8.99 for their, no, it's like $4.99 for their reader access. And then it's like $11.99 and then like $20. I think they have 3 tiers. If we average that out and say about $12 a person, they're getting what? $6-7 million per month. Now, I think they also do an annual membership, which makes it cheaper. We're looking to do something similar. We just need to build the website and improve, do better, which I think we're expanding, and we're gonna be bringing on new talent, and we're growing every day. I'm gonna tell you this, my friends. I'm gonna tell you this. You see this right above me? Where is it? Right there. Right there. Timcast.com. Timcast.com. Go to Timcast.com, become a member if you like the work that we do. We have a show that I'm really putting a lot of weight behind, Pop Culture Crisis. It is the crew at Timcast.com talking about Hollywood, celebrities, video games, music, movies, comics. Did I say comics? And the reason is we've got to approach this in a multifaceted way. Multivaried solutions. That is, I can point out these issues and speak about the lying, the cheating, and the stealing and provide you information and a sort of relief. You say, you know what? I've been seeing the same thing. I like hearing someone else say it. Like, I'm not crazy. A lot of people say, wow, I didn't know that. Look at these sources. Forbes, Daily Wire, 600K subs. I didn't realize that. Axios, CNN laying people off. But talking about the issue isn't enough. We need to talk about the culture. Politics is downstream from culture. So we here talking politics, we're late to the game. I do talk culture on this show as well, but it's politics and culture. So I said, we need something that's culture, because we do politics with a little bit of culture. Now we need culture, a little bit of politics. So we've got Brett Dasovic hosting and Mary Morgan hosting Pop Culture Crisis, a show about cultural issues. So you will hear about, people who aren't interested in politics will hear our take and our values that's coming behind this commentary. The next thing we're doing is we're launching shows. Tales from the Inverted World is our first big show. The next season is coming out. It's a seasonal show. We're going to do, I think we've got maybe 13 or 14 episodes coming out. It's slow growth. But go to timcast.com if you want to support our work, because it's more about the mission. You've already helped us displace CNN. And it's amazing. I'm sitting here in a mobile studio. Let me tell you what's up. We're in a fifth wheel trailer. It costs about $100,000 to get the trailer. It cost about $60,000 to buy the truck so that we can bring it around the country. We went to Alex Jones's and we had a big show. Our biggest show on YouTube ever with Joe Rogan and Alex Jones. We're now at the Daily Wire HQ, and we're going to have some of our biggest shows. Well, the seasons affect viewership, but we're going to have the Daily Wire crew, and we're going to be going around bringing this information to various cities. And we're able to do it. And so on top of this, I would say this studio, and then we got like $40,000 worth of equipment to make the whole thing run. $200,000 to be able to do what we're doing and travel this stuff. And it's thanks to you guys who are members at timcast.com that we're able to do this. And so it is a tremendous feeling. Because when I got asked recently, what's your mission? What's your end goal? And I said, look, every day I wake up and I lay one brick. Every day I lay up and I just take the brick and mortar and I'm building a wall. I mean, figuratively, we're building a building. And the end result is we're going to have a massive city, figuratively. And I'm asked, what's your motivation though? Like, why wake up every day? And I say, because every day I wake up and I'm tired of being lied to. When I see Bette Midler with that little girl and she's like, I'll pay more gas for her. I am disgusted by this. The attempt at the spitting in our faces. No. I just want to say, guys, it is a tough world out there, and I hope you have enough information to plan effectively, to keep yourself safe, to protect your family and your friends, to do what needs to be done for a better world. I can't tell you what to do or how to live your life. You're allowed to disagree with me and tell me I'm wrong. All I want to do is be like, to the best of my knowledge, here's what's happening. Politics, that's outside of it. What I find funny in all of this is that I can offer up a seat at the table to every left-winger, every progressive. Let's just call them out. You know, Cenk and Anna from Young Turks, I've invited on the show numerous times. They don't care. Hassan, he says he'll come on digitally to IRL, but he won't come on in person. Now, to be fair, I can respect that he hosts a show, and I've said this before, but there's always some excuse. The first time he was like, oh, it's COVID, I can't do it. And I'm like, you know, whatever, dude. I don't expect them to come on the show because I don't think their ideas can stand up to scrutiny. I think they need a pigeonholed platform to be able to maintain their ideas. Someone said, well, then have him on the show digitally. And someone else pointed out why. So he can get support. He can get crowd support from commenters, from many other people. So he can bolster up. So instead of just sitting down like we all do every day, they say, well, you know, you should have him on your show digitally. I told Andy no and Lauren Southern I would not allow them to come on digitally. So they eventually came out. Because I'm like, we don't do that. You want to come on the show? I told this to Vosh when he came out with Charlie Kirk. I said, it's going to be you and Charlie Kirk for the most part debating, I'd assume. Now, obviously, I'm going to disagree with you and probably agree with Charlie on a lot of things because I'm more moderate, not leftist. Charlie is not far right. So there's probably a decent amount that we'll agree on. I said, do you want to bring on another left personality or liberal personality so that we can sort of balance things out? Vosh was like, no, I don't. I think it's fine. I was like, you sure? Because I don't want you to feel like we're ganging up. And actually what ended up happening is people pointed out that I actually was fairly in the middle of the road. I pushed back on Charlie a little bit, corrected him. I corrected Vosh a little bit. And I think it was a good show. But there are many people who refuse to come on. And I'll tell you the other thing too. For one, it's IRL. It's in real life. We have sit-down conversations because they're real. I tell everybody you can bring a laptop, and absolutely during the show, if you challenge our source, we'll pull up any source you ask for, and we've done it multiple times. We had someone on the show. It was Eliyahu, and he said it was a question of abortion, and he showed us a stat from Pew, and I said, interesting. Well, I'll accept Pew, but counter with Gallup, which says something different, and therein lies the big challenge: different sources, different facts. They are alternative facts, aren't they? Pew says it's a fact. Here's the data. Gallup says the same thing, but they contradict each other. So I'll point that out to you because, you know, there's one that I trust more or don't, but who am I to say? So when these left personalities are just like, no, I won't come on, or I'll only come on digitally. Yeah, you know what it is? I think it's that their ideas can't stand up to scrutiny and they need some kind of shield, a protective barrier. I've gone on many shows. I've gone on tons of shows for other people. I've been on the Young Turks before. I'm willing to sit down and talk to anybody. I'll go on their shows. But the one thing I will completely agree with Hassan on, yeah, look, dude, I don't blame him for not coming on the show because he hosts his own show and doesn't need to take time off for me. Fair point. I would argue a similar thing. But I'd actually consider, you know, coming out on a weekend, because I take weekends off now, to sit down with Hassan and have these conversations. I just don't think these people want to actually have these conversations. They want to manipulate, control, lie, cheat, and steal. And that's why people are fed up. Now I'll leave it there. Next segment is coming up at 4 p.m. over at youtube.com/Timcast. Thanks for hanging out, and I'll see you all then.